Sheddies, how are you all? Hey, you're drinking tonight, then, are you, Mark?
Well, yeah, I'm on a lemon. Here you go.
Oh, limoncello. That's nice. Is that San Pellegrino?
Yeah, there you go. Other drinks are available, as they say. This is not an ad. I'm not sponsored by it.
I'm sure you're trying to get some sort of sponsorship deal.
Yeah, I'm just doing sponsoring. They've given me a multi-million-pound deal for the small workshop.
Imagine the Italian outlet.
I'm just going to sit there like that the whole night. Yeah,
you'll have your face on it. You'll have your face on it as well next. The face of San Pellegrino. Hello, everybody. Yeah, as usual, thanks for joining us. Any questions, put a Q first if you can. If it's a statement, just put a statement for anybody else. And these questions are for everybody. They're not just for us, they're for everybody. And if you've got an answer for a question that may come up, just put an A in there, because then also we can say, oh, this guy knows what he's asking. This subscriber knows what the answer is. So, yeah, keep it sweet as usual. And I was just having a quick chat with Mark actually before we came on air, because I went back through the video from last week and my sound cuts out. I've just tried ringing up a microphone, a laptop, everything set up, and discovered, because I set it up on a mobile, I can't go live on my laptop, which is a real shame, but there you go. So if I start talking with my mouth moving and no words, no sound, then just let me know. I've pre-warned Mark as well. So points coming through already. Hello, Sean.
Hello.
Frank, Dancers and Aardvarks. Reggie.
Got some questions coming in already. Brilliant.
Woodshop. Doug's here.
Is Doug here from Doug? Doug. Hello, Doug.
What is
all the way over in America. Brilliant to see you. It's not this brilliant to see everybody. Does anyone know that Rob and I did an interview with Doug, and we sort of did a discussion, didn't we? It went on for ages, didn't it?
Went on for longer, mate.
Yeah, it was like really long. There's a video out there somewhere when we interviewed Doug about his workshop. We've got an amazing workshop over in the States with loads.
If you haven't seen his channel, Fleet's Woodshop, in my opinion, the best workshop in the world.
Workshop. I mean, I can
put
only
aside,
dream about that.
I think you have to put aside how much you spent on it and just look at the craftsmanship in the doors and the finishings. I mean, this goes above and beyond. This isn't your typical workshop. This is something that everyone should aspire to. I mean, I think it's probably 30 years, 40 years, 50. I don't know how many years of work, Doug, you put into that. But
yeah. Rob, I can't even aspire to it.
No, I could probably aspire to one door. I must have 300 doors in there. And if any of you out there are connoisseurs of species of wood, Doug is trying to collect every species of wood. And he's up to 100 already.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, he's trying to collect samples from all
30 years, he said. 30 years he's had his shop.
30 years, there you go, you see.
30 years.
So who else is in? Dancing Aardvarks, got him on there. Oh, we'll go on to the shed goat in a bit again. I'll tell you, I think you might know who the joint leaders are. Frank Williams got 2. Dancing Aardvarks got 2 last week. And Sean got 1. So 2 fourth runners in first place at the moment. But we've got another 5 weeks left. So plenty of time to...
That's brilliant. We've got loads. So yeah, we've got Ian there. Ian, good evening to you, Ian. Evening, all hot one today in London.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure London is always 2 or 3, 4 degrees hotter than anywhere else. I guess that's cities, isn't it? It just gets hotter and hotter, much hotter than where I am. I've got the sea breeze with me all the time, so it's been warm. This week it's been warm.
I ain't got my fan on me today.
Yeah, I'm not complaining, because actually I've had 6 weeks of working out in the rain and the weather, and that's been pretty. We've just been all fed up with the rain, but
sure.
Yeah. So it's nice to have some decent weather. Actually, not getting But it's hard work. But it certainly was hard work my week because I was digging. Anyway, I might talk about that later if we get a chance.
Yeah,
digging foundations.
Oh God, I've dug foundations for my brother-in-law once, and all by hand. Yeah, that was a weekend and a half. We'll probably
I might, if we get a chance, I might talk about that a bit later. But that was what we did. But and you'll see the video. You know you will at some point. So you see it in a very edited version. But 2.5 days hard graft. Anyway,
liking the pink t-shirt and the boss cap.
Oh, there we go.
He's very with it, Mark, isn't he? Very with it.
Hey, I have got all sorts of trouble. The thing is, with my in my day job as making things and working on sites and things and working around, primarily I just wear work gear, which is mostly black. It's mostly black, but I do have some I do have some colourful stuff. But
I'm mostly.
But you're in black too. I'm always in black. I'm always in dark colours. But I do. Maybe I'm coming out with the sun. There you go. Sun's shining here in Dorset. Yeah. And I'm being a bit summery. So
a bit summery and happy, and everything else goes with it. Right. First
100 degrees. Sorry, Doug has just said it's been over 100 degrees here in Houston for weeks. 100 degrees. What is that in Fahrenheit?
40. There's a way of working it out, isn't it? Is it 4?
Damn, that's hot.
No, is it? No, it's not 40, is it? I can't remember what the formula is now. I used to think it was times by 2 and then plus something, but
because that's Fahrenheit. That's 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's centigrade, isn't it? So what is that?
Yeah, what's that?
Would that be 40 degrees centigrade? 38. Somewhere up there, isn't it?
It's hot. It's hot, isn't it?
Ask Alexa. Ask Alexa. Son. My Alexa's in the other room.
You watch everyone's Alexa go off now. Alexa, what is 100 degrees in Celsius?
Right, I'm just going to ask. Hang on. I'm just going to ask. Hang on.
Right, while he's gone, I think we've got the first question. Ian. Hello, Ian. Good to see you again, mate. Sanders. I don't think they are good being cordless. Mrs. got a rundown bookcase and asked me to quickly sand it down to paint it. It had heavy varnish, but the batteries were dying.
38 degrees.
Oh, 38 degrees.
38 degrees.
That's hot. We ain't got up to that this year, have we yet?
That's hot. That's hot.
We obviously down in Italy, they got it ridiculously hot. Sorry, yeah. So I was just mentioning Ian's question. I've just run through it while you wanted to read that, Mark. So Sanders don't think they're good being cordless. Mrs. got a rundown bookcase and asked me to quickly sand it down so she could paint it. It had heavy varnish, but the batteries were dying. So as we've said before, battery power has its place and its moments and for quick jobs. But yeah, something that's going through how many grits you're going through on that, I think it's going to wear down pretty quickly.
Good question.
Is that a random orbital sander, is it, Ian? Sorry, go on, Mark.
Yeah, while we're talking, I'm with Ian there because all my sanders are corded.
Yeah.
I've got both obviously belt sanders, which are Makita. I've got Makita. Hey, Rob, are you hearing the word Makita, not DeWalt?
I know.
Did you hear that? Is that something strange has happened to the universe?
As long as you don't mention Parkside, I won't drop my drink.
So I've got Makita belt sanders. I grew up with Makita belt sanders, the big ones, the small ones, the really big ones. They're an absolute workhorse. They just sand anything. So you go to what you know, don't you? And when I'm going corded, I'll go anywhere. We've talked about DeWalt because I stay within the battery system.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose that one. But I do have a DeWalt Orbiter, or a pad sander rather. It's a square. So I do, but they're all corded. More importantly, to Ian's question, I would always get corded. Now there'll always be a reason, if you've got the money to have a cordless. More expensive if you go to cordless. Everything is more expensive because it's the portable, and then you've got to get a really good battery. You need a 5 or a 6 amp battery, otherwise, and spare battery, so you constantly got the charging going. So it's quite an investment if you go cordless to be able to keep the power. But corded is all the way for me when I'm doing that. Even on site, I've got extension leads and I run them out.
Yeah. One thing I do, I don't know if it works for other people, in my shed, I put the plug sockets above. So if I'm sanding with a belt sander or whatever, I can plug it above and the cable's out of the way. So rafters, I've got little plug sockets everywhere. That helps. Obviously not.
It does. I've caught my. Who? I'd like to know in the comments who has using a belt sander has ended up sanding up your lead and it's jammed.
Oh,
the
yeah.
belt sander. Who's experienced that? I've done it quite a few times over the many years I've been doing this since I was a boy.
I've done it myself, mate. And I don't think Grumpy's Workshop's in here tonight, but you ever see the video Loz did with his belt sander? He left it on the table outside.
And it shot off.
It shot off. He pushed the plug out.
Oh,
He found it as funny as we do.
It was gone.
It was
I tell you, you got to look at that with the belt sander. So always keep your cord, your lead out of the way. But
don't keep your lead.
If it does happen to you, you won't be the first person. There's plenty of people who've sanded up their lead.
Yeah, this is it. There was a question on here from something about ever regretting study. Cook o'clock. What a name. Have you ever regretted selling a car or a motorbike? I know I have, but I know I had to. If that makes sense. I had a 1000cc Honda, actually a Fireblade, and passed my test on it. Well, passed my test. It's about 15 years ago. Always wanted one. Went and got it, and it was spent 99.5% of its time in the shed. Never got out on it, and I thought it's just sat there doing nothing. And this is the point, they're actually going up in value as well. So sold it. Yeah, I still wish now they had one, but then that's the heart telling me. The head tells me I can't justify it. I ain't got time. But anything you've regretted selling, Mark? Cars, motorbikes, guitars?
Oh, guitars. Yeah, we're back. Yeah, guitars. I've been through a lot of guitars and had guitars stolen, which is even worse.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I've had some nice gear over the years, and now I don't own it. I only got 2 guitars now, but I've had quite a lot. And then there's been loads of guitars that I've had access to that weren't mine that I wish I'd had.
Yeah.
That I wish I actually owned, but guitars. Cars, don't think I've ever regretted. I've had favourite cars.
When you see the price of some of the cars you had back in the 80s or 90s, you will wish you kept them. I had a I don't know if you're familiar with the retro Fords, like the Fiesta XR2.
Yes, yeah, very.
I had one of those and I sold it for 300 quid because it was, the time I finished was a banger. You try and get one in a banger state for less than, I don't know, 5 or 10 grand now, you've got no chance. Prestige ones, they're like 50 grand, 40 grand.
When I was just starting to learn to drive, my ultimate car, my dream car that I aspired to, and I said I will own one day, I never have, I should say, was the Escort RS 2000.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. You're drooling already. I was just, and now I look at them, and they're probably worth a fortune now. An RS 2000. So I learned to drive in I was 17. So 1982. I think I was 6. I left school at 16 in 1981. So 1982 is when I passed my test. I was 17. And RS 2000, and they were around from the late 70s, weren't they?
Silly money.
Silly money now, I'm sure.
Frank mentioned his Cortina on there, I think, and I think they're all down in Essex in the 80s. I think all the retro Fords were down there. The Capris, I think it was
Capri. 3-litre Capri.
3-litre
2.8. 3-litre Capri.
2.8 gear, is it? Or the laser? The laser.
Gear.
Gear.
It was a gear.
Yeah, you try and get one now. They were like the English version of if Doug or anyone else from USA don't know what a Capri is. It was like the English version of the Mustang.
Yeah, probably not, but it was our version because we couldn't ever own anything as powerful. I mean, they're big V8s, and
I think it was close as we could get it anyway.
Close as we could get back in the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah, that's it. Sean regretted selling my Nissan Primera 2-litre estate.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Reggie mentioned one thing. Was it a question there as well? This week's question: wood or plastic window frames, which are best? Well, you can't beat, can you? Sash windows. Wooden sash windows.
Yeah, they're a lot of money.
Very.
And I wouldn't touch a sash window with a barge pole if someone asked me to go and fix it. It's a specialist job.
It is.
I don't know enough about them. I could fit a normal window. Yeah, that's fine. But if you got me into sash, somebody asked me to repair one. I said, nah, I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I just don't know.
No, exactly. I know someone that actually makes them in Nottingham as well, and he's like, provisional, he knows them perfectly. So yeah, it's an expert job. I mean, plastic. There's a lot of aluminium ones now, of course, as well, isn't there? We're having getting the aluminium Critol, Critol design, aluminium doors at the back.
Yeah,
so it's got 3 bars. In fact, this one's got 2 bars in it, so it's really low, shallow profile. But because it connects the house to the conservatory, wanted a low threshold as well. And you can get a low threshold with these, and I think they just look a bit more refined, but. I think value for money, you're never going to beat UPVC, are you, for energy levels and price, etc. But it's nice to see the old windows. I mean, how many old windows do we see now? About can't be any.
Cool. Look at this. Have you seen the comments from Ken? Well, there's 2 comments from Ken. Lovely to have you here, Ken. Ken Haley.
Hello, Ken.
First of all, I'm just going to run back quickly, although we won't go back over the cars, but we just say that my brother had 2 RS 2000s in the 80s. And I had the odd chance to drive them. They were brilliant.
Oh,
wow. I never have driven one. I've just drooled over them as a child and even now as an adult when I've come across them again. Right. He's also a UPVC window fitter. So I wish I had £1 for every sash window I've took out.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly probably over the last few decades. So although, interestingly, Ken, I get asked, this is a question I'm throwing back to you that you can put in the comments. Do you now, with everything being interested in retro and particularly, or maybe grey, he's retired. I've got that. Okay, retired. That's my answer.
This is an interesting one. It's a bit of a story as well, I think. So Doug's mentioned from Fleetwood Woodshop, I had a 1963 Fleetwood Caddy back in the 60s, but I had to sell it because I needed my company and I named my company after it. So I presume that was to fund your company in the first place, and that's why it's called Fleetwood Shop now. Back in the 60s as well. I take it that's the case, Doug. But,
who knows? Who knows? Amazing. Amazing. A lot going on tonight. It's wonderful. It's great to have all of your comments. Keep them coming. Questions and all of that stuff. We've got some stuff here to go over. We've got some subjects that we might jump into in a little while. We've obviously got the quiz, got Shed Goat.
One thing I did notice when afterwards I watched the video back and we miss loads. We do miss lots of good questions in there.
Oh, yeah.
It is hard to multitask.
It's very hard because I'm watching here and I've got to keep an eye on the comments which are coming down here. We just as a disclaimer, we will always do our best, but we are the more people that jump in, the busier obviously our live stream gets, which is obviously what Rob and I want. But and it builds up the community. But we have to pick and choose and jump in and jump out. So please, and I won't even mind if you put a question in and you submit it further down, because it's not that we're ignoring it, it's just that maybe we haven't seen it. So I don't mind if you jump it in again a little while later if you've got a question that we can just jump back to. It's more about us, both of us, scanning and then being able to actually do what we're doing and do the live stream with you guys.
Of course.
Out there. So please don't be afraid to do that.
And Mark mentioned last week that he's on holiday from the 17th of September for a couple of weeks. He's cruising around
the Med.
So what I was going to do is sort of cut off for 2 weeks, but I'm not away. I don't think I am yet. So anyway, long story short, I thought to keep it going, we'd have, when I'm off or Mark's off, we'll have a guest on. And I've spoken to a guy that I know through social, or through Instagram actually. And he's got a pub shed in his back garden, and he does a podcast, and he's into IPAs and cocktails and all this sort of thing. And he's like, he said to me today, actually, he said, I'm not an expert in this. And I was beginning, I says, but I know you know enough. So he's got a channel, and not a YouTube channel, actually. It's on Instagram. And he's got this podcast on Spotify as well called Ale and Audio. So anyway, long story short, I contacted him today and I said, would you come on, tell us what you know about IPAs, microbreweries, local beers. He samples beers from all around the world. And he's into cocktails, all sorts of stuff. I know zip about IPAs, microbreweries. I just drink Budweiser, Stella Artois, and probably San Miguel, and that's it. A few wines as well and a few spirits, but generally I don't know enough. So we're going to bring him on. I haven't set up the date yet, but I'll let you know when it is, and then you can have a few load of questions for him, and he'll probably do a few taste samples wise on the live stream as well. So we've got that to look forward to.
It's brilliant. I'm just going to jump in on a question. Dancers with Aardvarks has put there because I think it's come up twice. So well done, Dancers. Thank you for that question. Preferred screw brand and head type. Now I assume you're jumping in on the. There's lots of screw brands, and I'm not particularly loyal. Depending on what the job I'm doing. Are you happy for me jumping in on this, Rob?
No, you carry on, mate. You carry on. I've just got some...
So you've got Posi Drive and PZs, and then but with screws, often what happens, particularly people who don't understand, there's lots of different heads that you need. Almost the screws come with. There's lots of different types, and you need to have all those, or you buy the screws with the heads with it. Because when you're screwing them in or unscrewing, often, particularly if I'm trying to unscrew something, you've got to find the right head. And what happens is you turn the screw head and you destroy it, mostly because you haven't got the screw head, the right actually bit on your screwdriver. So it's about identifying that and putting it in, having a number of different screw heads and actually making sure you've got the one that's tight in there. So there's lots and lots of brands. Adam has just put up there his preferred screw is the Screwfix Gold. Yeah, I know them. I use a lot of exterior screws. And I'm trying to think what the brand is. I've also recently, I use a lot of Hex 100mm, again exterior, because I'm building, during the summer, I'm building a lot of stuff outside. So I also use Hex, carpenter's type screws. So the big ones, anything from 100 to up to 200mm in depth. So I've got different sizes, and they're a Hex head, they're an 8mm head that you use, and they're brilliant. I mean, once those go in, particularly if you're framing, because you could use a framing nailer, but I don't actually. I use a framing nailer for different things because these Hex screws, they absolutely lock it in. So timber screws, Timberline is another make, but there are loads out there, and you could get you could really get lost. And maybe maybe another episode we'll actually have a look. I think that's something we need to make a note of. So thanks for that, Dances, because we'll get them. We'll actually have a look at a number of them and see if we can identify. I know Turbo Gold in Screwfix, they're actually really good value, and you can buy like loads of them. You can get some really good deals if you go out to Screwfix. Which, talking about Screwfix and trades, is something we might jump onto in a little while, because maybe if we've got time, we're already flying through the time.
Yeah, just a few of these comments on it. I just went off there because I had to charge my phone. Long story, I had to change my laptop to my phone, and it's going to run out. So I've sorted that now. I think someone said, Rob, is that the roll of the ocean, Adam? I think my camera was flopping backwards. Anyway, so I think some answers here about the beers, which is no surprise. Ian likes Indian Pale Ale, IPA. Yeah. Isopropyl alcohol, yeah. Well with cola. Yeah, that's last resort, that, Ian. That's what we call under the sink at the end of the night.
Brilliant. Don't underestimate the screws from Aldi. Sorry, back to the screws. There you go. Rob, you're all right. You're all right. You're sorted.
I've used them. They're great. And what Doug mentioned there as well, I had a Carback beer called Crafted Bock. And I think Carback is the brewery that's near his place in Dallas, Texas.
Houston
mentioned it. I think he mentioned it. I think your internet went off when we were doing that bit of an interview with him, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend you go and check his channel out if you haven't seen it already. Just go straight to his workshop tour first. Just blow your mind. And then all the projects he does, resin work, lathe work, just a craftsman, artist, and a great character as well, personality. So yeah, check him out. Sorry, what was you going to say, Mark?
Don't know where I was going with that. I was just jumping into Aldi screws. I said, but you said that Ian, and then that was from Frank. I just use plasterboard screws. There actually is another plasterboard screws. Yeah, again, well, obviously use them for plasterboard, but they bite differently, and sometimes you can find a use for plasterboard screws. I use different ones. You've got self-tapping screws, so you've got to know what is out there and when to use the right screw and
plasterboard screws
bit.
For piercing the wood, aren't they? They're so
sharp. They're so sharp. Plasterboard screws are really, really sharp.
I've used them so many occasions. If I've done loads of them, I end up with loads of little black bits under my skin.
Yeah, you can get them. Yeah, you get little metal splinters.
That's right. You need gloves. I think that's
you do. Yeah, but loads. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of screws. If I dragged them, I'm not going to do that because my van's sitting out there. I could drag in and I'd have a whole load of screws, and we could actually look at them. Maybe next week we'll do that. If you want me to do that, then put that in the comments, and we can actually do a little bit more of a deep dive into some of the screws and where we might use them. We'll attempt to have a discussion around that. So, but if you want to do that, put it in the comments.
Yeah. Right. While we've got a moment, do you want to do the shed goat?
Yeah. Am I doing the first questions?
Yeah. Mark's got a couple of questions as well. So if you don't know already, we've got this thing going on called the shed goat. But I think we probably ought to call it the Wi-Fi or broadband goat. Because as we noticed last week, the time to answer the question, the answers are coming up. So, so if you don't know the rules of this, we're doing 5 questions every week, and it's a very short answer. It's either a 1 or 2 digit answer, which makes it a lot easier. It's like the first part of a word, for example. So 5 questions each week. The end of the 6 weeks, we'll see who the winner is, and we'll give a giveaway. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but it'll be half decent. So we'll do a few runner-up prizes as well. So,
right. Okay, I'm going to take over the first 2 questions.
So you do like that. I was going to alternate, but you go first.
Sean's put up a K already. What's that for? We didn't even ask a question. Is he? Pardon?
He's testing.
He's testing. Oh, right. Okay. I was thinking, he's answered the first question.
I'll tell you what. Let's just check speeds out. Let's check broadband speeds, because this is what goes wrong every time. So
good.
We'll think of a letter. We'll think of a letter now, and then all of you press it at the same time, and just see how quickly it comes through. So I'll think of a letter. So
call a letter out.
Right. Let's go for. Ready? A for apple. Oh.
Sean's come back. A. Useless to useful. Jim.
Yeah. I think.
Okay. It's all banging in pretty quick. It's just
fairly all right, isn't it?
It's fairly all right.
For next week, I think what we'll do is we'll find something that's a number, like the answer is a long number. There's no way of knowing the answer. It'll be like, guess the amount of, not this, but guess the amount of sweets in a jar. So then we'll get a load of questions. Anyway, we'll think about it afterwards. Anyway, first question. So this.
Right. Okay. Here we go. Get ready, everybody. Fastest finger. Again, this is just a single letter. This is current affairs, or this is this week. Okay, so either you know this or you don't. The first name, the initial for the first name of the England women's winning goal scorer in the semi-final this week. It made it the goal that made it 3-1. The winning goal. What's the letter for the first name?
Doug said J.
J, wrong. C, no. The first name, the letter N, no.
Not a clue.
Not a clue. Brilliant. Oh, this
is hard this week, Mark. I kept last week.
No.
Just go on Google.
Right. Okay. Right. We haven't got anyone there. I don't think anyone's got a girl. Yes. Thank you, Clark. Okay. I'm going to give the answer. So that just goes down to nobody got the answer. Right. It's A. It's Alicia Russo. Right.
Okay.
Right. Second question. This is to do with trade, or in my world. So the highest. This is 2 digits. I want 2 digits for this. All right. So the highest number for the full gradient for drainage. So it's 1 in watt. It's 2 digits. The full gradient for drainage. 1 in watt. 2 digits.
Oh, this is taking a long time, isn't it? 1 in 3, 15.
No.
40.
Have I set too hard a question?
No. They'll probably get there. They'll get there. Not yet. Adam, not 50, not 100, not 12. From ready, not 0. You got the right answer, haven't you, Mark?
Well, yeah, I have got the right answer. Yes, I have got the right answer. Yes.
Oh, come on.
God, I've set too hard a question.
You have. I think I've done the easiest question.
You got it. You got it. Yeah, it's all right.
I think I've.
Rob said, "Can you set 2 questions?" I said, "Happily." I've obviously set a really hard one.
Well, I think what it is as well. These are probably better somewhere in between. They're probably a bit harder because when I do them, there's loads of answers going through together. Yeah. Oh God. Well, if they don't get this one, I will have to think of 2 more because I've got 3 other questions here.
Right, it's all right. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Right, I will. That ski slope. Yeah, I think we'll go for a ski slope. Right,
Yeah,
I'll give the answer there. Okay, I'm going to give the answer. I said the other one. So it's 1 in 80. So 1 in 80 if you're doing full gradient for any drainage, particularly if you're doing soil pipes or things or drainage. You want 1 in 80 going across is the drainage. Any steeper and solids, in particularly in drainage, get stuck and can cause a blockage. So you need it to move nicely at a steady, very steady gradient with your water.
I've just done mine and they're like that.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work. That's gonna get blocked very quickly. You think it's gonna go down faster, but actually the water will run away and your solids get stuck in it. So it's not good grading. I thought 1 in 80, Adam said. Brilliant.
Oh, there you go.
I thought 80. 1 in 80.
Right.
Well, halfway out, Ian.
Let's crack on with these questions then.
Go on in, Rob.
The acronym CLS. So CLS wood, that we use for studded walls, etc. CLS. What is the 4th letter of the second word? So what's the 4th letter of the second word in CLS? CLS.
We're setting some questions tonight.
I don't think this one was too bad.
No.
Oh, no, Ian, right. B. It's Canadian lumber.
Lumber. Ian, B. Yeah.
B. So let's get Ian on the board. Week 2. You're on the board, Ian.
Canadian lumber standard. CLS. CLS timber. Any good stockist. Any good stockist.
Right. Okay. Next one. What? Oh, it's an interesting one. Right. WD-40 stands for something.
I didn't know this.
What is the second letter of the second word? So WD-40 stands for something. There we go. Useless, useful.
Yeah.
So it's water displacement.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I didn't know that. I've learned something tonight. So that was a question I didn't know because I didn't actually know what WD-40 stood for. I do now, but I was like, oh, just WD-40. Why is it? And I bought 2 of them today.
There you go. You learned something. Every day's a school day.
Every day, absolutely.
Right. I ran this question actually by Mark first, and I was surprised what he said. So, am I frozen up?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, this bloody thing. Right.
There you go. You're back.
Right, good. Okay, so I don't know. I'm sure I'm not the only one. The New Yankee Workshop. It was a TV series in America. What is the first letter of his name? Who was the host? First letter of the guy's name, the host of the New Yankee Workshop. Oh, look at that, Sean. Yeah, I'll give you that. Norm Abrams. Abram, I think it is. So well done, Sean. You're at 2 now. You're on the second one. So I'm going to think of 2 more questions really quickly. So 30. Right, okay. Right.
Have you got some reserved questions? Have you?
No. I'll think of something. Right. Okay. Right, we'll come back to it. Let's go to something else. Let's do some questions. If there are any questions that we've missed.
Right. Do you want me to just jump into, because we've got some questions here? Shall I?
That's the point, right? So Ian Knight, and I'm pretty sure that you might be a bit younger than me and Mark. The New Yankee Workshop was in the I think it's 80s, late 80s, 90s. Definitely worth watching. He must be on YouTube, and woodwork channel. So definitely, he's like the woodworking equivalent of Bob Ross. Is it Bob Ross? Yeah, the painter. I think he's like the equivalent of that.
Right, so, I've heard of him, but I don't think I've ever watched anything of him. And I didn't know this Norman New Yankee Workshop. I didn't know that either. Ian, never heard of him, nor have I.
Nor have I. Who hasn't heard of him? Who else? No one's heard of him.
Adam's saying his internet is too slow. He's on YouTube now, Adam said. Is he on actually now? Is he on the other side from me and Rob?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think he's retired now.
Yeah, he's a master carpenter. Brilliant.
Oh, look at this. Doug has met, I think,
Wow, I've met Norm several times. Not that I know I'm saying wow, because I don't even know who he is. So, but
when you realise who he is, he's like a god amongst woodworkers. So, yeah. And that's interesting, actually. I called this the shed goat, and I said it was God of all things, goat. It's not. It's greatest of all time.
It's greatest of all time, yeah.
I think God of all things. Anyway, Adam, right on that. I was going to read in the comments. He must be 80. I bet he is, Adam. Bet he is, yeah. But, yeah, real nice guy. You can tell he's a good guy as well. Knows his stuff. Wow. Oh, Frank's missing out, look. Answers are coming up before I hear the questions. Oh, he's got lag.
Oh, Frank. Don't worry. It's all a bit of fun. It's all the part that counts.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to think of a better way of doing this, and it's going to be the closest answer to a particular number. I'll think of that for next week. David Marks. Have you heard of David Marks? Not heard of him?
No.
I wonder if he's on. Could I put him on here?
You've got to take us off behind you and put him on there. No idea.
Yeah, I'll look at some. In fact, I'll probably get copyrighted, won't I? I don't know.
Yeah, you might. Oh, can you do that? Can you actually do that streaming live? I'm not sure you can you?
No, probably not. So
no,
I'll leave that.
Yeah. Right. Do you want to? Should we jump into? Should we jump into what Ian just sent us an email?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Ian sent Rob an email, which then Rob kindly forwarded on to me, and a lot of stuff Ian's doing. So Ian Knight. So I've just summarised, paraphrased almost some of the questions from because he did put 4 questions in there, 4 or 5 questions, and then we've got something off the back of that if we've got time to really talk about. But one of the questions, Ian is doing a number of projects, and one of the things he's building is or wants to build is a bike shed. So, but he's got some other stuff. He showed some brilliant pictures of stuff he's doing and working on, and a great picture. So we now know. Thanks for that. Obviously, you know what we look like, and now at least Rob and I have seen a great picture of Ian. So brilliant, mate. Absolutely nice. It's great to have a face with which we were going to do a rogues gallery, weren't we? Possibly.
Yeah,
we might do that. So only if you want to do that. You certainly don't have to do that because not everyone wants to do that.
No.
And what he said, Ian said, and now we got Mark from the small workshop. What's that? Oh, David Marks. Yeah, we got.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Anyway, Ian, as I was just mentioning in your comment there, some of your questions. So, question 1. I'm just going to jump into what is a good merchant supplier at the moment. So merchants, so they're the trade merchants. I use, but you don't have to use these. I use probably for 80% of what I'd get is probably through Jewsons in the UK. So if you're outside the United Kingdom, this is not going to be very relevant to you. And I certainly can't talk to any other country because I haven't got a clue. But UK based, United Kingdom based, I use Jewsons, which are nationwide. They're a very big building merchant that are from the south right up into Scotland and every part of the country. You won't be far from a Jewsons branch. Now, are they better than some of the others? We have another brand, another merchant down in the south, but I'm aware they're not because my brother doesn't know them, and he's a builder, and he's got a big building company, builds houses and all sorts of stuff, and he doesn't know them, and that's Bradford's, but they are in the southwest. So again, a big building company down here, and I do use them from time to time. And then you have Travis Perkins, another big name. They're all going to be pretty much the same. We have MKM, which is down here, which is nationwide as well.
They're in Nottingham. One just appeared in Nottingham.
What, MKM? Yeah. No, big. They're countrywide. My brother uses them almost, I won't say exclusively, because he's got a big building company, but he uses them a lot. But really, is there a better one, better than the other? They'll all do. All of them are going to do the same stuff. You could get, if you're going to build something quite substantial, you're going to be able to get it in all of those merchants. Then it's just about price, and actually, who's behind the counter? How do you build up a relationship with the people that are behind the counter? Because sometimes people are just, when you go into these places, and I maybe wanted to talk about that maybe a little bit later, about using merchants over DIY shops that most of us go into, and are we comfortable going into merchants? Because obviously they're very very professional building, and maybe we'll come back to that in a minute, because I'm going over Ian's questions, but we'll think about that, and let me know in your comments if that's something you're very comfortable with, or maybe you're uncomfortable with going actually into a trade to some of these names that we've mentioned, and going in there for your stuff, and you don't quite know how to go about it. Right, question 2. So anyway, question 1 is what supplier to go and find the best price. They're all going to look after you, and it's just about finding the people that you in your area. Question 2, what is best, shiplap or feather edge fencing? I'm assuming this is for your bike shed or something like that. Now, feather edge is a lot cheaper, a lot cheaper, but you're not going to protect your bikes very well. So you will, that is not, there's going to be holes in it. It's not going to seal up in any shape or form. So, but it's a lot cheaper, and it's really rough as well, because it's fencing. If you look at fencing, most fencing, normal fencing that you see in most houses, it's feather edge, and it will be up this way. You could do it all sorts of the other way. You could turn it round. You can do it whichever way you want, but it is rough as old boots. It really is. And but it's treated. It's not going to rot. So, because it's fencing. Now, could you treat it? Yes, I always advise people to treat it, but lots of people don't, and it will last for years and years, but it will eventually degrade. Shiplap, obviously better. Still, you're just single skin, but because it actually laps over. I'm doing that terribly, aren't I? I don't know if you can see that. So you've got one piece, and it literally shiplaps over. I'm sure you know that. Much better and much nicer finish.
Everything has its place. I think
everything has its place. It's more expensive, but again, shop around to see where you would get that. And I would get that through one of the bigger trades. If you're going to go for feather edge or shiplap, then I would go to one of the merchants that we've talked about. They will have quite a big stock of it. And you could also go to purely a fencing company, which I do know some of them, fencing and stuff like that, where you can get all of that stuff. But shiplap I would normally use, and then I use feather edge. But I have made things in feather edge when people were specifically asked, because cheap sheds, if you think about cheap sheds, off the shelf type sheds, they're generally made with feather edge.
Yeah.
So they're really cheap. They'll last for a little bit of time. They're pretty flimsy. But you can pick up. Well, you used to be able to pick up a shed for 400 or 500 quid. A couple £100. I don't think you can now. But it's something you just screw together. It's almost on battens. It's not going to last. But it's cheap and cheerful.
Bob, you can talk for years. I know that. I didn't know if you could hear me.
No, I couldn't hear you.
No, that's what I mean. I've got to get this sorted. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I don't think you can hear me anyway. I wanted to sort of bring it on a little bit. Adam asked one question last week about tiles, for moss on tiles. Yeah, I saw something, and I don't know. I'm sure that, I know the Alexa and everybody's listening to what we're saying. And it went onto a video, and he was talking about moss on roofs. It's an American channel, and he got this powder, and I don't know what the name of it was, like in a big tube, like in a Pringles tube. It was green in colour. It's this powder. scraped off the moss, and then he put on all this powder, left it on the roof while it rained, then did it again, then did it again. I didn't watch the full video, but it's worth looking. Was it called Codis or Code? It might have been Codis or something. Anyway, have a look. It might be worth. Adam putting something there. Yeah, it might be worth checking out anyway. Right, so a couple of questions because I want to keep this shed goat thing, so we're in line. We want 5 questions. So fingers ready. Next question. Who, or the first letter of the first name, who is accredited of inventing the telephone? Who is accredited for inventing the telephone? Sorry, these are just questions I've just had to think of quickly. So the first letter of the first name.
There you go.
There we go.
Useless, useful.
That is literally just fingers first. So
everyone's coming up with 8.
2 today.
Alexander Bell.
Alexander
Graham Bell. Was it Graham Bell or Alexander Bell?
Bell, yeah.
Yeah, Alexander Bell, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Alexander Bell. Yeah.
There you go. Loads of answers. So we're going to find somewhere in between your questions, my questions, somewhere in between that are, yeah. Anyway, right. This one might be a little bit difficult, but anyway, soon find out. First letter of the answer: the capital of Switzerland.
Capital of Switzerland.
Capital of Switzerland. There we go. Jim, it's Bern. B-E-R-N, which I didn't know. There we go. Yeah, I thought it was Zurich as well, Ian. So who was that? That was Jim Ricketts.
Brilliant. Well done, Jim.
Just a recap. So, got now Sean has got 2. Useless Useful's got 2. Frank Williams has got 2. Dancing Allbox has got 2. Sean's got 1. Oh, Sean's got 2. Jim Ricketts got 1, and Ian Knight has got 1. So we'll see how it changes through the weeks.
And it's a bit internet.
I know.
And the internet for everybody is including both of us. It's maybe that's sometimes that does a sliding tackle when you least need it.
Yeah. Well, I'll have this sound sorted out for next week. 100%. Definitely get it done. It's driving me a little bit insane because it's like I watch the videos back and I'm talking and my mouth moving but no voice. I don't. It can't be the signal because I've got this new booster in here with a Ethernet lead running from the house up here as well. So it can't be that. Mega fast Virgin. It's to do with this phone, and it's not. It's a 13 Pro Max as well. You thought it would have been perfect. I do notice it's red hot by the end of the session though. Yeah. So So if anyone that jumped in afterwards, we're going to do a bit of a special on IPAs at some point as well. I've mentioned that, but I thought I'd mention it in case we've got a guy coming on. I thought he might come into the chat tonight, but he's not there. I was going to ask him a few questions actually, but anyway. Rod Harris, I got crap internet. Yeah. Rob, have you used that angle grinder tool, the bargain for from Wix? Right, not yet. This weekend. Taking walls out. I was going to use it, but I got what it was, right?
We want to know if it works, if it lasts more than one go.
I know, exactly. I don't know. That's what we'll find out. It spun round, but that's what you expect, isn't it? But it's 350 watts, so it's a pretty beastly thing.
Sure, it'll be fine. Sure, it'll be fine.
Tell you at the end of the weekend what it's like. I'll tell you what happened. I was doing the work, covered in dust. I thought, right, I need to use this grinder in a minute, and I didn't want to use it and then do a video of it. It ditched because I knew it'd be ditched. I thought I'd open the box, so I did it when I was covered in brick dust. It was funny, because my wife was she was out on the Sunday. I think it was a Sunday, and the place was covered, absolutely covered. And you know what brick dust is like?
It's everywhere. It's so fine.
Everywhere, and she just had to walk upstairs and just.
Well, I've got a brick dust story. Last week, I was also using because we both premiered, didn't we? A couple of weeks ago, we both I got a brand new DeWalt disc grinder.
Yes.
And you've got obviously an Audi version.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have used mine as well. You probably will see it at some point. But I was using it outside the front. First of all, I was doing a home job and doing a job for the first time. I've actually done. I'm doing something I've never done before. I think we talked about it, didn't we? And but there was dust going. It started. Obviously, I was cutting paving slabs, so it just dust was going everywhere. I stopped, looked around, and thought, I need to go and tell my neighbours.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to coat their cars.
Yes.
In brick dust, in paving slab, fine grey dust.
There's a lot.
So I just went and knocked. As a good neighbour I am,
Yeah.
I went and knocked on. I happen to get on really well with all my neighbours. We've got quite a community here where we all get on well, and we're good friends as well as being neighbours. So I just knocked on the doors and said, look, I'm cutting this. I think, do you want to move? Letting you know if you need to move your car, because there'll be a fine film of dust.
Wash it, and if you wash it with that dust on there, it just scratches the hell out.
Scratch the hell out of it. So I just, they went, oh, brilliant, Mark, not a problem. I'll just go and move. So it was nice, but just being courteous.
That's all you're gonna do. Neighbourly.
Just be courteous. If you're doing a job, if you're doing any DIY, just check, particularly if it's going to make a lot of mess. Noise, everyone's happy. If you were doing it day in and day out, Sunday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, then in your neighbourhood, then probably that's not a good look.
Well, there's a lot to be said about the still saws, isn't there, and the cut-off saws, and having a water-fed diamond blade.
Yes.
Because just everything's in the water, and so you can't do it with electric, and you've got to be two-stroke jobbies.
Yeah. When I was having my driveway laid, which is a few years ago, I got block paving all the way down my driveway to the front, and I didn't do it. We had somebody come in, but he went round because they were cutting there for days and cutting and laying a driveway. He gave everybody a car wash ticket. He went and bought a car wash. The people that were doing, the tradesmen that were doing my driveway, and the neighbours were, that's brilliant, loved it. He just said, here you go, apologies. They could see I was having it done, so there's nothing, it's up to them whether they drive in and drive out. But he went round and bought a load of car wash tickets to one of our local car washes, took them to everybody, and everyone thought that was a really nice touch. So brilliant.
I've got another tool here. I might do a quick thing on it. I've used it a couple of times already. Laser level, and it's one of these cheapo ones from Amazon. It's only 60 quid, but it's a 4-way weight, 4 lasers on it, so you can get the double lines on the wall vertical and the double horizontal, and you can get the diagonals as well, centre of the room. Fantastic. Finds the level really well. It's got a remote with it as well, and loads of little gizmos that come with it. So I'm leveling the floor as well, so you've got one of the little upstanding charts to get the level right on the floor. So I'm going to do a bit of a review on that. Hopefully, I'd say end of the weekend, because I'll be using it again this week. I'm just going to mention it while we're live.
Brilliant.
And if you've used one of these already, I mean, is there much advantage to having the 4 laser level? You can get the 2, so you just get 2, one there, and that's it. But this is 1, 2, 3, 4, one underneath, so you get the horizontal, 2 horizontal lines and 2.
Yeah,
I think there's 16 points, 16 lines you can get out of it.
So, amazing. Just looking at some of the questions coming in, or the comments, more comments. Oh no, there is a question from Ian. Has Mark created a theme tune? No, I haven't.
Oh no!
Yes, I started doing something really chronic. I've performed, which my family and my wife will vouch for. I know you guys won't know this. I'm not saying anything that's not true. I've performed all over the place on many hundreds of stages over the years. Sizes big, stages small, and front. But playing on here last week was like, good grief. Just made a right mess of it. But no, I haven't, Ian. I haven't created a theme tune.
Mark.
Maybe I need to. I've got to find the time to do it. I haven't got time to breathe at the minute.
that time when my microphone, I'm glad it didn't work, because I was watching myself back thinking I was singing along to that as well. Cut out completely. So me and Mark myself and Mark spoke to each other after the live stream. We had a quick chat, and when we do these live streams, it's like when you've been out on a night out and you can't remember what you did the night before.
And you take the guitar on a cruise, Ian has said.
singing.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. I nearly got. Well, I was with a band. One of the bands I was with, we got offered to work on a Disney cruise ship. We did the audition and they offered it to us, but in the end we turned it down. I think because I was going to be gone for 9 months, and that don't really work, does it? So I think there was some aspect of it, but we did get offered a Disney cruise ship in the Caribbean a long time ago.
Yeah. One comment here from Fill Your Boots. Interesting one. I did a review on not really a review. It's just a screwdriver, a multi accessory screwdriver, because I noticed that Farm Foods were selling belt sanders for less than 20 quid. Well, I think this is right. Fill Your Boots. I still need to do a review on the belt sander from Farm Foods. So anyone that's watching, go and check out Fill Your Boots channel, because he's going to test. I think I'm right in saying this, Phil. You're going to test a less than £20 belt sander from Farm Foods. Imagine saying that 20 years ago.
I know. Farm Foods.
Yeah, they were doing some tools there, cheap ones. So, and just to say as well, I know Doug mentioned it, and thanks a lot, Doug. Give it a thumbs up. This video, it always helps the channel.
Yeah, please hit the like button. It makes all the difference.
And share to your family and friends as well if they're interested. If they're not interested,
yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
Do you know what? As well, it's quite funny because I was watching the video back from last week, and Reggie was on. This guy called Robert, Robert said something, and I was talking about flea markets and car boots, and I thought he was from America. And he says, "No, I'm from the UK," and he says, "Tell Reggie, it's Reggie on the road, he owes me a new table." Well, anyway, I was watching Reggie's channel a while back. He was at a car boot sale. He got all the tools lined out. This Robert, if it's the same guy, all his tools lined out on this trestle table. Reggie was filming. He comes along like this, and the table just collapses.
Oh!
In front of, and Reggie went, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me." You know, that Robert's like, "Yeah, right. Yeah, right." But he's caught on camera. He didn't touch it. It just collapsed.
It just collapsed.
Reggie. So yeah, go and watch Reggie's channel as well. You might find his video with that on there. It's quite funny. You need to put that into a short, Reggie, that bit. Just a short video, and then everyone will go and watch it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just a few more shout outs again. One of our regular contributors, Brett at Useless to Useful, he's just released a video on his man cave. And so go and check his channel out. Really unique, really what's it called? Reusable products. Use pallet wood, etc. And he made this man cave. And I also do a special on the live stream at one point about man caves. Probably do it when we do the pub shed. And
yeah. Well, you're the expert on that. Yours is far better. Yours is yours compared to mine is I dream about yours.
You need to have a party up
here. Yeah, maybe not.
No. Well, we were talking about you coming up here at some point. Probably.
We are, mate. We are.
November.
With me and my wife, my much better half, are working on it. Yeah, we're going to take a trip up past. We go to Yorkshire. We've got good friends, and we haven't got any family up there anymore. But we've got friends and stuff. So yeah, and it's like we have to go past.
Sort of on the way.
We sort of a bit of a detour, but not that much at all.
We'll have a live one with Mark here as well. Might even get a wives to jump in. Never know.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. I'm not sure whether. Yeah, who knows? Well, Dawn has appeared. Dawn has obviously met Rob over here. We've never physically met. We're not here. We still haven't. You know, we've got this great friendship, but we actually. I'm only 4 foot nothing tall.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, we might be tall. Each other and not like each other.
What am I doing? I'm brilliant.
I doubt that completely. Yeah. So we'll do a live thing, I think, where we do it from the shed, and then when I get down to Mark's neck of the woods at some point, Mark needs to be in his shed. I think everyone ought to put a comment that why Mark.
Oh yeah, I've got no Wi-Fi in there, and I'm not likely to get any in there any time soon. At some point, I will. Obviously, I film when I film in there, but there's no Wi-Fi in there, and you wouldn't see me. It just wouldn't work. So.
Yeah, you just all you need is an Ethernet lead, didn't you?
Yeah, I discussed it with Dawn last week, and I said I'd have to run it out there for the period of, and then come back in again and just attach it. And just run it all the way through because I haven't got anything. I had my garden landscaped a few years ago, and obviously I put the cable, the armored cable I never thought to actually run alongside it internet, because I never, well, at that point when I built my workshop, I wasn't doing YouTube in this form, so it wasn't even on my thought I'd do, my life would take this weird detour, and now here I am with Rob doing all this, and it seems to be going, I think, where's this going? My goodness me.
You never thought 10 years ago you'd need high internet speed in your shed.
No. Rob, if we get famous enough, we might be invited to do Strictly Come Dancing.
No, you never know.
Dancing with each other.
Oh, what's the other one? Ice skating. Oh, great fun.
Oh, hilarious. Hilarious.
I don't think they have Big Brother anymore, do they? Or
no. I don't know whether I could hack that. I don't think I can hack that. Just
I'll tell you what,
with a load of people.
Tell you what, when I come down your neck of the woods, is that wood supplier. That timber supplier.
Oh, you want to go to Yandles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll take you to Yandles. So that's that's about a 45-minute drive, an hour's drive from my house, but it's yeah. But it's a bit special because there's an amazing cafe there. It's a place you can take the better halves as well, because there's a really amazing shop there, which I've not shown on YouTube. I've just shown the woodworking side of it, but there's an amazing shop there with all sorts of home stuff, really good, well-made quality stuff, mugs and rugs and carpets and gifts and things. Then there's a whole arts and craft area, and my wife is also into crocheting. So, but if you're big into knitting and wools and all sorts of stuff, there's tons of stuff. So it's a really eclectic place, but it's originally a sawmill, which is why there's this just incredible woodworking and tools, workshop, and to buy big machines as well as going around all the woods. Incredible place. So
brilliant. Yeah, I'll definitely be up for that. Yeah, Doug's gone. He's had to run, but it's his afternoon now, isn't it? So
yeah.
And
well, it's 8 o'clock, so we've hit our time, haven't we?
We've done it already, haven't we? So I'd just like to say, if you can, anyone can share this video with anybody else as well. We're just going to get as many people as involved as possible in this little community we've got going. And we've said it from the start, it's not about the numbers, just more the merrier. It's just nice when, especially with you guys, and then we might have to employ somebody to go through the questions. Find someone.
Well, it's a bit of fun, so we're not. It's just.
I hate missing the questions. That's the thing. When you look back afterwards, and we've missed loads. So
yeah.
What Ian mentioned. Thanks, you guys. Buy Mr. Pink and Mr. Black is in Reservoir Dogs. You being Mr. Pink, of course, in your T-shirt. Mark, you should check out.
I'm just reading that. Mark, you should check out the way I have got the internet into my workshop. It basically uses a plug wire. It travels from the house to the workshop. I will check that out, Reggie.
Oh, that is a good idea. Really good idea. It works off the earth in your plug. I had issues with it. It didn't work for me as well, but I do know people have done that. It relies, like I say, on your earth for this plug. So, but yeah.
Rod has just said, and I know Bill from also there's some other people. Rod has just said I'm not allowed to go on my own to Yandle. So maybe if anyone is around that part of the net or can get to that type place, it's in Somerset. Yeah. Then that'd be not only when Rob is down or sometime in the future. It may not be this year, it might be next year. Doesn't matter. But sometime in the future, a meet up with those that can meet up. It's not that far away. That you're not talking about you're traveling half the country. That's not what I'm talking about. If you are within comfortable striking distance, within probably an hour, like I am, to Yandles, then maybe it would be great, not only with Rob there, but for a few of us to meet up, have a breakfast, have a lunch, maybe a lunch.
And we all go back to Mark's afterwards for a good...
What, and all try and get in my workshop?
Yeah,
yeah, that's going to go well.
Back garden. We'll all sit in your back garden.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I'm
awesome, mate. Right.
Brilliant.
I'm going to look into that, Reggie. Thanks for that, mate. I'm going to try and look into that going forward, and we'll see where we go.
Yeah, I think we're about there.
We're there, mate. We're there, aren't we? We're 4 minutes past, so we're trying to keep this to an hour. Look, it's been brilliant spending our time with you again. We missed lots of stuff, but we're doing our best. And we try and keep abreast of the comments and the questions. There was other stuff that Ian shared with me, with and Rob, but there's only so much we can do.
there's a few emails coming through now, people with their sheds and projects they've done and everything else. We'll put it together in a bit of a montage, and we'll bring it out very soon. So yeah, keep sending it to us. Weekendshedhead@yahoo.com. And that's about it.
That's it. So, shall I go first?
You go first.
Right. So from me, Mark, at the Small Workshop Adventures. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Take care. Cheers. See you, mate. See you guys. Thanks very much. Oh, why does it never end? Oh, there we go. Yes, folks. Final curtain, mate.
Hold on. Turn it off.
Get off. Get off.